today I'm going to be taking part in the mid-year book freakout tag. So let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Rachel here. As always, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. You can also like this video so that it is referred to other viewers as well. In fact, like the video now. Also make sure to hit that notification button just so that you are informed every time I drop a new video and you can get on that. Before I step out for book club meet, which is today, usually it's from 11 to 1, but for today it's from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're having like this get together thing. I'm probably going to vlog that experience so that you guys can see how it usually is when we get together every month. But before I step out, I thought to record this video. And why I really like this tag is because it sort of helps you keep stock of your reading experiences so far from January to June. And I did it last year when I discovered it, and I watched back the video just to get the questions and all, and it was really interesting because, well, some of the books that I said I was going to read at the later half of the year, I didn't end up reading them, but then some I read, and it was just interesting to see how my reading experience had been from January to June 2020. Now coming to this year, my reading experience so far has just been, I don't even know how to explain it. It's been great for the most part of it, and then sometimes it's like sometimes it's just up down. Like there's like loads of books that I'm halfway through, I haven't finished. Like sometimes I'm overwhelmed with work, I'm trying to balance so many things. I've had great audiobook experiences so far, and it's just been a sort of a healthy, balanced reading experience so far from January to June. I don't think I'm anywhere near in terms of quantity of books I want to read. I should have gotten to 35 books halfway by now if I want to read 70 books by the end of this year, but I think I'm like far away from that goal. Really, I've just been trying to handle so much and just taking it one step at a time. But the most important thing is that I'm having fun and I'm enjoying the whole experience as time goes on. So without wasting so much time, let's get into the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag. The first one is, what is the best book you've read so far? I think so far what I would say have been the best books that I've read this year are definitely The Mountains Sing by Nguyen Phi Mai, and The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and what else? Behind Her Eyes. Yes, I listened to Behind Her Eyes on Scribd. Yes, I think those are my three. The Mountains Sing, oh my goodness, I did an independent review on that. It's such a beautiful book. It's historical fiction and it's based in Vietnam, tailoring the whole Vietnamese war and things like that. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it really surprised me this year because it had been on my shelf for like the past 2 years, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like I'd never read anything by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and then I picked up the book because we had chosen it for book club recommendation that we're supposed to read, book club pick of the month. I read it, I totally loved it. And then the third one that I selected, Behind Her Eyes. So I had seen the Netflix of Behind Her Eyes and I didn't have the hard copy. I listened to the audio on Scribd. Awesome. I love that book. Like, oh my goodness, you have to be thoroughly twisted to have come up with the kind of plot that Sarah Pinborough came up with. And I've done independent reviews on each of these three books just to show you how much I really like them. I will leave the link in the description box and it'll probably pop out on top so you guys can check that out after you're done with this video. What has been your favorite sequel in the first half? Like I said in my last mid-year freakout tag, I don't really read a lot of books that come in sequels, and that's what made me pick up Shadow and Bone sequel this year, because I was like, oh, there's a Netflix show coming out, let me see how it will go. I read the first one, I was like, okay, it was nice. It wasn't outstanding. It wasn't like, it didn't blow my mind. I was just like, okay. Do you know, till now, you guys, I haven't watched the Netflix show. I was hoping that I'll finish the second and the third installment because I bought the 3 books at once, but then I didn't finish it, and I heard that you even have to read 2 other books. So I'm like, when I'm done watching what I'm watching on Netflix now, I'll just go and watch that one and probably give out the other 2 books. So I wouldn't really call that the best one. I will give it to Chio Zoe, who I've read the first installment of her sequel, which is Memory of Stone. She's a Nigerian fantasy writer, and the second installment recently came out in June. It's called Verity of Old. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't read Verity of Old yet, but so far I would say yes, that she really qualifies as my best sequel so far. She really put in, it's like the books are really action paced and there's so much to look forward to, especially with the second installment. So I'll let you guys know how Verity of Old goes. Number 3, is there a new release you haven't read but excited for? Yes, back to Verity of Old. It's a new release. I haven't read it yet. I'm excited to see what happens, because of the way the book ended, A Memory of Stone. I'm excited to see what happens with Verity of Old. I don't particularly know whether this book is out yet, but I'm excited to read it. It's titled Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Damilare Kuku. Like, the synopsis just made everybody fall in love with it, because if you live in Lagos, you know how crazy it is and you know how Lagos men can be and all the things that people say about Lagos men. So yes, I'm also looking out to read John Grisham's new one, A Time for Mercy, which I think was published in 2020, I think. And I'm currently, or is it 2021? Funny enough, I've currently started it and I'm already loving it. Of course, it's John Grisham. It's a legal thriller. I'm looking forward to just getting into it. Another new release that I haven't read but I'm excited for, which I just recently started, is Mother May I by Jocelyn Jackson. I think that's her name. But Mother May I, I'm really, really excited about reading that. I started listening to it on Scribd and I think that I'll be in for a great experience. I've been looking out for that book. Now, I also want to read The Wife Upstairs, I think by Rachel Hawkins, and I'm looking out for that. Most of these books are in the thriller genre, and I'm excited to read them. What is your most anticipated release for the second half? Honestly, I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head other than this Nearly All the Men in Lagos Are Mad by Damilare Kuku. But I think that as time goes on, I typically check like my Goodreads to just see, oh, which books are coming out, and then I just acquaint myself with some of them. I go to Scribd, I go and save it, and I keep on moving on. What was your biggest disappointment so far? Yes, my biggest disappointment so far was Dreams and Assorted Nightmares by this Adam Ibrahim Abubakar. I was a little bit disappointed about that because shortly before I read that book, or before I started reading that book, I had picked up Season of Crimson Blossoms and I totally loved that book. I thought it was such a beautiful book that touched on things that are not particularly spoken about, especially in northern Nigeria. And then I pick up Dreams and Assorted Nightmares because I was really looking forward to the synopsis of the book. But then, I don't know why, but the first story just threw me off. It's a collection of short stories. The first story threw me off. I was like, okay, let me just continue trying. The second and third stories were somewhat like, especially the second story, I was like, hey, now we're getting into it. But man, I couldn't make it past like the fourth story. I just don't know what happened. And I guess I was disappointed because I just wanted a bang from the book, because I had just read something that I loved from the author. What has been your biggest surprise so far? My biggest surprise so far was actually Malcolm Gladwell's What the Dog Saw and Other Stories. This book was selected for our book club meet, and you guys, like, I mean, I have quite a number of Malcolm Gladwell books like on my shelf that we've selected to read, and I usually don't read them, and I'm like, oh, I know he writes well, but let me just try it. This particular one, I started it and I really loved it. It was a short collection of stories of articles that he had written, I think, for the New York Times over 10 years or so, and he took simple everyday things like ketchup, like L'Oreal products, and went into the psychology of making those things to the final product, the behind the scenes, what it means when an athlete is on court, maybe in a tennis match. What's the difference between freezing up, clamping up, panicking, and then like losing it or blowing up, and there were so many stories that I learned so much from. It was so exciting for me. I was so surprised that I actually really liked the book, and I feel like if it's something that is your vibe, then you may like it too. But he really did a great job, and he writes amazingly well. Now I'm encouraged to go and read up all his other books, especially the ones that we've selected for book club that I never read in the first place. Another big surprise for me was also how much I liked The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like, I wasn't expecting to like it as much as I did, and I totally loved it. You guys can check out my review on that book. What is your favorite new to you debut author or favorite author so far? I think it will probably be Nguyen. I really liked The Mountain Sing, and I thought it was such a good book. Also, I really think that Peace Addomedie, who wrote His Only Wife, really did a great job. Like, I've recorded a review and to probably come up after this video, but I thought that she really did a good job for a debut novel. She really tried. Who or what is your new favorite character? Obviously, you guys know from watching my reviews on the books by Talia Hibbert, my favorite new character is Zaf from Take a Hint, Danny Brown. Oh my goodness, Zaf. I can go on. Look at how I'm smiling. This guy, honestly, you wouldn't even believe that this guy is a fictional character, but he is. Like, but he's my favorite character, and I really just don't want to go into it because I'll just keep on saying his name over and over again. But yeah, I really love Zaf. He's amazing. What is a book that made you cry so far? I don't think any book has made me cry, but one that brought me close to tears was definitely The Mountain Sing. I really, man, that book was heartbreaking. It was beautiful, but it was heartbreaking. Like, whew, it was a lot to deal with, trust me, you guys. A book that made me happy, or rather books that made me happy. Obviously, all the books in the Brown Sisters series, they just made me smile, they made me feel warm on the inside. And by the books, I mean Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Take a Hint, Danny Brown, and Act Your Age, Eve Brown. Those were really nice books that made me smile and made me happy generally. The most beautiful book you have bought this year, I think, would be Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's Notes on Grief, which I just recently bought and I totally loved it. I've done a review on it and you guys can check it out. What books do I want to read by the end of the year? I don't even want to answer this question because I don't want to watch this video next year and realize I haven't read any book. But yeah, there are quite a number of books that I want to read by the end of the year. I want to also listen to quite a number of audiobooks too, like short stories, books by Agatha Christie. I want to read books that I already have, John Grisham books. I have The Guardian, The Reckoning, I have A Time for Mercy. I also want to finally get to the yellow book that is on my bookshelf that I haven't gotten to. Where is that book? There's so many books on this bookshelf that I've not gotten to, you guys. And I think The First Woman is one of them. I have Chintu. I have not read that. I have An Orchestra of Minorities. I started, I've not finished. American Dirt, The Institute, what else? Lives of the Stoic. Oh my goodness, there's so many books that I want to read. I'm not even going to say anything. Let the year end and let's see how it goes. But so far, you guys, I've had a lovely reading experience. I've been merging different types of formats. I've been exposed to new genres of books that I ordinarily wouldn't read, and I've just been having a great time. Work has been trying to, like, you know, dampen the whole thing, but I'm trying to find ways every day to balance this as I go along. So let me know how your reading experience so far in the first couple of months, in the first 6 months of the year has been. Let me know what your favorite, I want to know more particularly what your favorite read has been. Please share that with me in the comments so that I can add to my never-ending TBR pile of books that I want to read and probably buy or not buy, I don't know. But just let me know how it's been for you all around. Thank you so much for watching my mid-year book freakout tag for 2021, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.